This video is called Strategies for the Last Supper. So the Last Supper is a loaded term, and I'm going to explain some different key words for how you might want to interpret the Last Supper. So in one way, we've been told that the final supper was before this Yeshua being was crucified. And we know now that that's a hoax that the church pulled and created a Messiah syndrome, some martyr that was going to come again and purify this existence and redeem those sinners and take the chosen ones up into the cloud. So that is a pure hoax. And I have posted on YouTube and also on Facebook the human parents of the 12-strand avatar Yeshua. And I've also referred to his life in Persia and Tibet and his final resting place of the mortal body that was the 12-strand avatar with human parents was in Tibet. And so there have been many people who have visited a monastery in Tibet. And from my earliest understandings, because I was surrounded with people who were studying Eastern religion, they knew this man as just another of many avatars who come here to liberate us and tell us to leave Central Jail. And the ultimate purpose of your journey here is to receive moksha, or liberation, to get out of your physical body. And that's what all masters taught across the board. Now, in particular, this avatar, Yeshua, came to correct some of the imperfections. There's certain words I can't say. Imperfections that got coded and hybridized into humanity. And at the same time, a 9-strand reptilian Nephilim avatar came from the House of Solomon, who in fact did have reptilian parents, and is known by all the reptilians as a Nag, a snake being. So that was from this person called Joseph and Mary, which was not their real names. And he married into a line that was also Nag, which was the Magdalene line. So what's important for you to know is that Last Supper story was the church's idea to make us think that something was coming to liberate us eventually. And that is the false notion of this final supper, this Last Supper. The other way I want to explain it is that what they're planning right now is a huge slaughter, which has been defined by the Deagle report. And they have the looking glass that I had spoken about, a mirror technology that looks into the hologram and can see down the timeline. So they're expecting that removal of the basic Rh positive group, which would be about 70 to 90% of the population, would be removed quite soon through a template that is already designed and has already been explained by many researchers and is also explained in this book by the author, who basically says that O positive is the lowest consciousness on Earth. Now remember, his book is the inversion. So from his perspective, and you can watch Jonathan Mercedes and what he posts on Facebook. I mean, he calls us the mongrels. And I'd like to do a video with my friend Len. Len also just found out that he is O positive. And we're talking about genius level IQ. And I've never pumped, the test that I was given when I was young. But I also have a genius level IQ, and I think people already know that just by listening to me. And I am O positive. And yet, if you read this book, which is The Complete Inversion and the Trick, he says that, O positive are the mongrels and are the lowest consciousness on earth. And yet that's the majority of the beings here, okay? And A positive is also a targeted group. So the way that this is going to roll out is going to be a big feed for somebody. So that's why I'm calling it Strategies for the Last Supper. If you're aware of this mass slaughter that is expected, then you can not entangle with it and realize that our goal is to get out of here. Our goal is not to stay in hell and recycle ourselves again and again until we are the Zeta Regalian group, which is basically the they have effectively deleted something in humanity so that what we will be soon is something that looks like this. Okay, an artist's depiction is this, because that deletion causes this. Okay, and there are already children being born like that. And this author, Brett Oldham, which I ordered this book, is an abductee. And they have been creating this hybridized race for a very long time. And their purpose is to make body parts for the Zeta Regalian or the Zeta Draco group to get into and be comfortable with, so that they don't have compassion, they have very bad tempers, and they can be as aggressive as they want. So if a mass slaughter happens, we don't feed them by not entangling with it, by not reacting to this. Because as I said in my videos, in hell, in Hades, in the Sheol, where you are, in the underworld, which is a complete inversion, you're actually dead here. You're corporal, meaning you're a corpse. This is the place of death. And yet, if you read this book, which is The Complete Inversion, this to them is the place of life. And they have used us to hybridize themselves into a physicality. And I explained that that was because an invasion happened with a rape template that caused microchimerism, so that they started to merge their DNA with ours. I want to show you some things that have been coming up on social media about people's family members. And I can't say these things out loud, so you just have to be able to read it. Okay? And I put all kinds of data so that you can see why this is now happening to humanity. Okay, because when this thing, which is not about evolution, it's about de-evolution and ruining the human race, when this happens, the morphogenetic field changes. And I have felt that changing over the last 2 years, because the morphogenetic field is what creates what we look like when we're here. So I'm trying to pull a lot of different ideas together and explain something right now. The two Yeshuas that came to fix the morphogenetic field, and they came through two different lines. So one was the pure Nog Nephilim line, and the other one had human parents. And I had told about those human parents in my blogs, but I just want to repeat that this Sananda, a pure Taran avatar from Tara, the original Gaia template, was actually incarnated from Sirius to fix the Syrian part of the line. His mother's name was Yehudi, and his father's name was Yohias, and it's likely what he looked like was black curly hair, afro, with dark skin. The other one looked like a bird reptilian, okay? And I can't say the ethnic groups that those are because it becomes a big problem, but you're talking about the AB negative line, okay? So what they were trying to fix, the House of Solomon and the House of Camelot, is they were trying to fix this problem that was also inserted. The line of the Solomon was trying to fix the Tha, and the line of Camelot was trying to fix Ha. And when I used to teach this, Ha and Tha is the sun and the moon, okay? And this image, which is very hard for me to show, was deleted on my Facebook account. It was removed. So it has both the Hebrew and the Sanskrit and the insertion of the chakras and the snake Nag being, so that those two beings came to basically try to repair a psychopathic problem in the Rh negative line. And the psychopathic problem is now being recreated by this deletion that is currently happening. So that the beings that have that, if you look into this, and I shared all the links, they have a disorder now. They have a very serious disorder. And that disorder causes them to not be able to speak and causes severe problems such that they have temper tantrums, bite themselves, and exhibit other behavior problems. And people are starting to see this in their own family members, okay? There are also a lot of images of children that are being born that look like this now, with the weird slanty eyes and no mouth, like skinny lips with a huge forehead. So they have put this back in. That's how we know Darwin is lying. There was no evolution. This is a genetic farming experiment for a very malevolent group called the Zeta Regalians. And there's nobody who can fix this now. So the morphogenetic field, the avatars can't even come back into this morphogenetic field. The thing is now, like the Nag Hammadi text says, this is a game that has been allowed. Okay, it's a game that's been allowed so you can remember the gold that you are. And the gold that you are will not continue in this system. The gold that you are will return to, in the Nag Hammadi text, what is called the One Father, the omnipresent, the source being. And so some people are very confused about where that being is. So I'm going to tell you a little story of one of my void experiences. This looks like we're in a place, but actually this place is in the void. All of space is holographic. Everything is based on consciousness. And the consciousness that we have creates this place. So in 1995, when I had my first real void experience, remember I was in a public place in a restaurant and I swooned and I fell back into myself. And when I fell back into myself, I went into this shimmering fabric place that felt like almost like plush water. And there was such comfort and relief and ecstatic love was the feeling when I was coming back. But the feeling was, this is home. And I was there for quite some time, although there's no time there. And when I came back into my body, I was like swooning also with like ecstasy and love that were actually from that void. But you see, I came back into an Italian restaurant. And when I came back in, the first thing I saw was a spark of light that is me. I am the spirited spark of light. And out of my spark was a strand of light that went to the chair and the table and the candle on the table and the setting, like the silverware on the table. And I saw that that spark of light was coming out of me, and it was creating the whole restaurant. It was creating everything. So here's the important thing, people. You're already in the void. The void is inside of you. We're in the void right now in this place. But what happens within this place is that we come back through a geometry that also creates the morphogenetic field. Now that geometry has something also to do with the installations that might be inside of you, of Ha and Tha. Okay, the two serpents, Ha and Tha, go up the central column. But when I was also 25 years old and I was having a lot of Kundalini experiences, I felt the snake, the visceral snake, in my first and second chakra, and it felt like a snake, and it went boom, boom. And then it hit my solar plexus really hard, and eventually it came up through my body. Now, if you can't get it to come up, I don't know how to remove it. I don't know. I mean, this is really up to you, people. It's not like I had guidance on this either. It's really up to you. And when it came out the crown of my head, I saw it and I grabbed it. I guess it was an etheric but a very visceral form, because there are many other dimensional beings here. And I grabbed it and I got rid of it. I threw it out of my body. Now my Kundalini still rises a lot, okay, but there's no snake. There's nothing in there going like that. I can't feel that in my womb. That thing is an installation, just like the current installations that they're putting in us, that will cause this to happen, okay? This is just an installation. And so don't be afraid of it, because ultimately we're all from the void. And those of us who choose to leave at this point don't have to go into the morphogenetic field of a very scary race of genetics in which you will be used as a cyborg, or the other group will be uploaded into the singularity in which they will be ghosts in a machine. So it's up to you. And so what I'm saying about my sessions right now is, thank you all for your patience. I'm starting to get through. People have been waiting for months, but what are you attached to still in this realm? And if you're attached to anything, know exactly what that is and see if you really need that. And you really want to be here and you believe in this stuff, because that's where you get stuck, because you can be tricked into coming back by some baloney, like is written in the Bible, of 1,000 years of peace. That's all baloney, because this thing cycles around again and again and again. In one of my videos called The 7 Eons, I spoke about how it just goes around again and again and again, and we're in like this eddy, this like little pool in which it cycles around again and again. And there's a brilliant man who is an Indian man who has done all the mathematics for this. And I looked at his work, and basically he's got the same information that I do, is that 2025, there is a complete ending of this epoch, eon, this time phase, okay? And it is supposed to end in fire and flood. So whether you succumb to this or you succumb to incineration, inferno, or floods, it really doesn't matter, because this is a slaughterhouse realm anyways, and you have 100% chance of death. Okay? Okay. In fact, if you don't have 100% chance of death, you should be scared because there's no way to get out of here. And that's my concern about the singularity. Okay. So those beings who are uploaded into the singularity, who have no idea what is even going on, they will be used as food and fuel, but in a virtual way in which their consciousness is just in this like machine. And they are traded as a digital currency. So that's why to be very careful about having anything installed in your body that would equate you with a digital currency. The other race that they're grabbing is the warrior race, the cyborg warrior race. And you know, that's what they want. They want people that don't have compassion. So that's why they deleted that certain part. And we see a lot of very dangerous, aggressive people right now. Just notice the road rage going on out there. And my client yesterday, who works in, he's a system engineer in AI, he said just the clients that he's dealing with are pure aggression. Yes, that's the morphogenetic field change. They want to harvest a certain amount of a cyborg race. And so the people who are like, I'm staying through to the end. I'm going to play the Hunger Games. Good luck. Good luck, folks. I mean, that's a Last Supper strategy too, because then you're likely going to get harvested and used. Okay. So I would say that it's a place where we're observing the mechanics still, and we're probably going to see the hardware of the whole system when we see the cataclysms start happening, which are just a technology that goes off here, the harps and the trumpets. And they've already got the trumpet all lined up to get everybody angry and aggressive so that when they do release the three pulses of what happens is that those people will have something to be angry about, and then they'll just have everyone fighting everyone else. Like they don't even have to bring out weapons, you know? And I've heard from some of my clients who are like, yeah, I mean, I'm not stocking up on food, but it's easy to kill somebody. I have guns. And I'm going, whoa, like, whoa, folks. I mean, do you really want to play their Hunger Games? That's the other thing, you know? My thing is stay quiet, study the mechanics, try to get as rural and not entangled in the discussion as possible. I've also gotten rid of electronics. Like I no longer have my digital cordless phones. I've unplugged my printer. Anything that's digitally based can take a pulse through it. So we got rid of all that stuff. And then at night we turn off everything so that no pulse can come through any digital thing. This thing gets turned off and put in a super Faraday bag, like a really heavy duty, expensive one, because this is a weapon. Okay. And I've shared that again and again. The pulse can come through this thing. And it can also come through your fabulous car, which is connected to this thing. So just recognize the Last Supper is coming. Either they're going to get a big feed from the sadness. You can already see just what happened in Maui, and everyone's praying and praying and crying, and people are letting go of their bodies out of sadness. But the thing is, I want you to celebrate with every bit of your being the return to the omnipresent one Father, one Mother source, which is the void. In fact, one of my friends who has followed the Freemasons just had me read a really old document from the 1800s by a Freemason. And, you know, the first sentence of that whole document refers to the void. So the Freemasons absolutely know about the void. And they also absolutely know about the ancient mysteries here, and that for the initiates, that is not a person, but a force of good, which may also serve evil. They represent a force inside the void, which presides over physical generation under the mythologic horned form of the god Pan. Thence came the he-goat of the Sabbat, brother of the ancient serpent, and the light bearer or phosphor, of which the poets have had the false Lucifer legend. This is gold to the eyes of the initiates, where light is condensed. So what this realm is, actually, is this is allowed to happen. This whole fall and rape and genetic manipulation is allowed to happen because the One Father is sure you will actually see your gold. You will see what you are here, and you will choose to leave. So this whole book is about how you got to become an AB negative and join us because you're incomplete and you are the lowest consciousness there is. That's the trick, all right? That's the trick. The Nag Hammadi text clearly says that Yaldabaoth is a snake reptilian. He's an imitator. He's a dead thing that Sophia blew her dreaming in. And the One Father is sure that you will return to the void. You will get out of this evil system. So that's my point, is that, first of all, you're already in the void. This is the void. And it's your golden consciousness that is actually creating the particles of this holographic game reality, because you're a creator being. So people say, well, what happens in the void? Then it's just nothing? Then it's nothing? Well, yeah, it can be nothing. But look, if you're a creator being here, you're also a creator being there, which is why many years ago, I loved the movie What Dreams May Come. And as actually after watching that movie that I had my first void experience, because when Robin Williams leaves, he leaves into like this unbelievable realm where he can create a whole other beautiful reality. And his wife thinks that she's a sinner and she's doomed, and she puts herself into purgatory, into like another level of the river Styx with bodies flowing by. Well, that's what these people want, okay? They want this to become this purgatory realm, the river Styx, because that's how they enjoy their coded experience. But I trust that you remember that you are gold and that you can leave here and not be tricked into coming back for any stupid religious thing about how you're evolving or it's your karma. You're not evolving. You're being genetically mutated. And these geneticists have been here since Atlantis. So this happens again and again and again. So one of the people asked me, like, what did the original human race look like? What did they look like when they were defined by a different morphogenetic field, the Polarians and the Hyperboreans? Okay, that was the first root race. And the Hyperboreans, as I said, were part of the elves and the Tuatha De Danann and the Fae. And that whole group is an O negative group. Well, the O positive group, I mean, I don't know what we looked like, but if you look at old art, I think we were pretty physically able. We enjoyed being in our bodies. But even prior to that, we were just pure gold, like etheric. And I know that from reading Barry Long's book, Origins of the Universe. So if you want to hear more about the Sananda Pure Taran avatar from Sirius, you can read the book Journey to Kashmir and Tibet with Swami Abba Hananda. I can't say that very well, but it details the life of Yeshua in India, Tibet, and Persia, in which he actually has left his mortal body at 39, and his body is apparently there. And I've heard that from all the people who go to India regularly, like he's just another avatar. You can also read La Vie Ikanu. I can't read these. I'm good at languages, but I'm good at Sanskrit actually. By Nicholas Notovich, and he also details the life of this avatar, as did the woman who started the Montessori schools. Like, there were a couple of women also, and you can find videos. Just Google the life of Yeshua in India, Tibet, and Persia. So he was never crucified. He's not coming back. His purpose at that point was to correct the House of Camelot. And the other 9-strand avatar was from the House of Solomon, Ha and Tha. And these are the 2 strands, okay? All right. And I just really have to explain again that even though they came to correct at that time, the reason that they were correcting was so that you could get out of here, so that your consciousness would remain pure, like the original Taran avatar, the original O-positive Taran avatars, who had complete ability to realize that they should go back to the void in between incarnations. So the point of Yeshua was to help you exit. That is what the point of an avatar is. You are your own avatar. We are at this point of no return. And as I've explained, it's the last call, because now the morphogenetic field is creating things that look like this. And everybody who knows on a galactic level what's going on here, these things were the invaders, okay? So I've recently watched some different videos of these beings and their form. They're puny little things. They never had really good body mechanics themselves, and that's why they invaded and created the Neanderthal race, which they had merged with an ape. We were already here, okay? We beautiful humans were already here, and we saw them do that. And then there was another invasion where these things are in different dimensions. So people say, oh yeah, aliens, Lolita, sure there's aliens. Well, there's many dimensions. They're already here with us. It was that they descended through Mount Hermon, and those reptilian bird beings took wives. Those were called the fallen angels. Okay, so here's what I think Sananda looked like. So he is described as having black curly hair, and very little of his teachings ended up in any of the religious books. So the closest one that I ever found was when I read The Life of All the Different Saints when I was young, was the Aquarian Gospel of Jesus Christ. And that one, it was like a song. It was so beautiful. It had nothing to do with all the crappy stuff that's in the Bible. What else did I want to speak to you about? The participating cities, which you can get this, of the smart cities. This is the 2023 Smart Cities Connect participating cities. If you don't want to be part of an immediate incineration, you might want to move from those places, because in order to really create those places, they need to restructure the city, okay? So I'm just getting you ready for the Last Supper. I also want to say that because we're in an inversion, the cursed or the traumatized who want to leave are actually the blessed. The blessed, who think that this is great and this is a good place and we're on paradise, those people are the cursed. Because if you've had a hard life, you're the blessed. The cursed are the blessed. Because you know what this place is. You're not going to be tricked anymore. Because we're in an inverted realm. So if your life is going great, because I've often heard people say, what are you talking about? Nothing ever happens to me. I'm not experiencing famine. No cataclysms are happening here. I have a perfect love life. I have a wonderful family. I'm like, good. You're cursed to think this is a good place. So remember, we're in an inversion. And I often do meet these narcissistic people who are like, nothing happened to me. My house didn't get melted by my smart meter. I'm doing just fine. Well, you just stay here then. Okay. But so I see three major groups. A huge portion will be uploaded as a digital currency and traded as smart dust for fuel in a dead matrix, and that's called the singularity. Then there's another group who are Rh negative, psychopathic bloodline. I'm not talking about everybody who's Rh negative. Again, it's my best friends are O negative. I got a lot of friends. They will probably be created immortals who are stuck in a machine type of body that is not able to speak, has no mouth, and we know what that is. That's the Zeta Regalian gray alien timeline. That's warrior race. And then there's those of us who are providing the very last supper, that these things are ever going to get on us, and we are the glitch in this matrix because we actually are bringing the void in here. The more that we know what this place is, the more the void that is already this place is coming in. So I've also seen some interesting videos and photographs of this whole matrix glitching, like with weird lines, with distortions. And that is because we are glitching, and we are going to leave this thing, not provide any more suppers. So our strategy is we're not going to get overly emotional and entangled with the slaughterhouse program. We're leaving when we're leaving. Okay, and until then, study it, really know what it is, because I have this feeling if there's enough of us that leave and we know what this thing is, we can take off, the lid to the can from the outside and release the souls. So the military strategies that are going to come down is that the O positive group was always useless and worthless eaters and are the lowest consciousness. And so I would just love to get some of my O positive people on videos with me who are truly brilliant, creative, and have common sense and are not psychopathic, to show you that the Zeta Regalians love to say that we're mongrels. So just look at this guy's Facebook page. It's astounding. And thinks we're so stupid. I mean, does he look at my page and what I'm posting as an O positive? And it really doesn't matter, because the inferiority complex of this fallen angelic group is that they've always got to boost themselves up by calling somebody else a bad name, like incomplete. All right, it just smacks of an inferiority complex, which is exactly what Yaldabaoth is. Yaldabaoth is these people's lord, and he's going, if you don't behave, I'm going to smote you. I'm going to take down the mountains. I'm going to dry up the rivers. I mean, talk about inferiority complex, okay? So the military strategies are that you're a useless eater. Then there's the divide and conquer that makes two evils look like opponents when they are in fact the same being. So if you just look at elections, like you want that guy or that guy, you want any of these guys, why do you need to be governed? This is the whole divide and conquer control complex of, oh, this one will get us out of the evil. Oh, this one, and they're both evil, okay? I know what they are. I can read their charts. And then the other one can say, oh, here's the military strategy. You have already won. Your guides are here to congratulate you that you are here to witness the end of the simulation. There's a military strategy. If you go into my video about the secret police of this realm, they're, these voice of God, subliminal acoustic manipulation, digital guides can come to you and say, you're doing great. Everyone put crystals in the Vatican. And because so many of you put crystals at the Vatican, everything is clearing up. The grid is clearing up. There's no more bad guys. You know, I got this one person say, she said that the negative aliens have all been removed. Well, there's a military strategy. Don't worry, the negative aliens have already been removed. Okay, you won. So that's a military strategy. But I got to tell you, if you've been putting crystals at the Vatican, you're working for the devil because you just amplified the energy of the demonic. Okay? So go ahead, people. And then we've got the secret police who are coming out and singing about the plight of the common man and his slavery. And then he's being interviewed by other secret police, and they're both pretending they never wanted fame or fortune, that this is just some kind of weird thing. Well, that's a red-headed giant, if you don't know what that thing is. And these are part of the secret police here, because they're going, oh, we have been in plight for so long and enslaved for so long, and it's all so difficult, and we're sick of it. Well, that lines you up for the digital currency, for your automatic payments on a social credit score, because you're right, you've been enslaved too long. Here, we'll give you free money so that you'll stay here. And you'll be enslaved further, because then you'll be a digital currency. Like the red-headed giant guy, I'm not buying it, folks. Okay, so you should just be ready for any kind of afterlife experience, and when they try to trick you with something, some military strategy of guilt and shame, or 1,000 years of peace, or now we're going into a golden age. Yeah, I mean, that might be true, but I'm not going to cycle through as a this thing in the morphogenetic field. No way, I'm not. This is baloney, people. Every strategy that they use is a lie. And so you have to realize the only strategy there is the Last Supper strategy of exiting without getting overly emotional and entangled in this realm, and remembering that you are the gold that creates this. You're already in the void. Okay? Oh, let me just think about all the things that people have asked me questions about and make sure that I have answered everything. So, the more cardiovascularly fit you are, the more the thing could also hurt you, because even if you haven't had, it transmits, okay? And it transmits by being near a network. I don't know how to say this stuff. Okay, so you do have to be careful, because there's a lot of people who are dying of this because they've been near a transmitter. And, you know, we're all gonna, there's 100% chance of slaughter here, okay? You're in a slaughterhouse realm. But just realize that you should stay conscious all the time about what this place is, because the other thing that they're going to do is they're going to start these things, okay? The quarantine camps. And they did that here in Vermont when FEMA came in. Then we had floods, and now they've set up these 200 trailers for homeless people, because they're not giving them back their land and they're not going to repair it. So there's some shit coming, folks. And I know, you know, you want to go into a state of denial. The state of denial is that, no, we're doing well. This is a good place. God loves us, all the bullshit. The state of denial is that you cannot look into how bad it is. And it takes a very brave person to step out of that state of denial and see what this place is and be prepared to leave. So if you're going to have a session with me, I will be really straight right away about the coming transits that I see for a mass extermination. I've never seen them before. I didn't see them in 1999. I didn't see them in 2012. I have not been one of those astrologers predicting all of this kind of baloney. I see it in 2024, from 2024, and then in 2025, a whole bunch of planets, including Saturn and Neptune and Nessus are going to enter Aries. And just like that Vedic astrologer, it's 2025 when these things all enter Aries. And by then, I think there's going to be a mass extermination, because the thing that happens is that it wheels itself around again and again. And this is the last call for your exit, because I don't think the cyborg race is going to be allowed to die. They will be immortals. And that, if that's fine with you, that's fine. The whole galaxy is holographic anyways. So if you just realize that you'll be living in a terminal machine suit, that's fine. A lot of people are going for that because they don't have the consciousness to know that we're supposed to exit and go back to the void. They believe, these people, that they are some kind of low life form and a useless eater, and that they've got to join the cyborg, vampire, werewolf race. So, gosh, my friends, exit strategies for the Last Supper. So if you have a session with me, please do not ask me about how to be successful in this realm. Do not ask me how to make more money. Do not ask me how to maintain your possessions, because this is all about preparing to exit. Like, this is the most important timeline of like 250 billion years of this baloney going on. And some people say, you know, well, are we going to just keep exiting as these things invade? Well, look, there's nothing that we can do within the demonic realm other than work for the devil. So realize it here again, if you're putting crystals at the Vatican, you're working for the devil. Oh yeah, there's a couple of other examples I did want to share with you. So I took a little vacation, I took a break, and I wanted to go and explore some of these places that are importing the Nephilim from the Ukraine. And there was a video that I had shared, that my friend Kali had shared with me, called The Return of the Nephilim, that really clearly explained that they're creating these special bodies for the Nephilim to inhabit from the Ukraine right now, and then distributing them and giving them homes and food and money. And it's true. Like, we can't feed our own people, but we can bring in these Ukrainians and feed them. And this is nothing about, you know, not liking certain countries or ethnic groups. It has nothing to do with that, people. But what I observed when I went traveling recently is the families that I saw like this did not match the children. So I think that they are adopted children. And what I saw was like the mother and father having brown hair. The father was wearing glasses just like Putin. Like, he just, you know, was like a Putin copy. But the children were really interesting because they have that reptilian character. They were completely telepathic, and I was observing them, and they knew I was observing them. I mean, they can tell someone like me who no longer has the Nog in them, so I'm on the radar anyways. But they weren't like normal children. They were absolutely silent. They sat absolutely still. They did not talk. They almost like didn't have mouths, and they did not speak. Whereas another like regular human child came up and was like playing with the pumpkin and asking what kind of ice cream they had and trying to interact with them, and they wouldn't even look at him. And the parents, eventually they got the feeling like that they were being observed, probably by me. Actually, I wanted to take a picture of the kids. That one kid was redhead, blue eyes, almost like albino looking. And I'm not making fun of gingers, but that is the Nephilim template, the Rh negative, red hair, blue eyes of the Nephilim. And that invasion happened during Atlantis. So a lot of those red hair, blue-eyed beings were during the Atlantean invasion. And then the other one was like a pure albino. Like, you know, my hair is kind of blonde, but this was like white hair with pale blue eyes, albino. And they didn't match the parents at all. and they sat with their backs to me. They wouldn't interact with other children, and then they just took their ice cream and got up and left. And I saw two different families like that. And again, I'm going, how are they affording this? Like, they're from some war-torn countries. It's because they are being completely provided for. Okay, so the Zeta Regalian and the Zeta Draco are this group and this group, okay? And the original dragon is a completely different group from the Hyperborean race. I'm concerned about you folks, actually. The O negative group would love, or the AB negative group would love to have those really old genetics of the O negative. So be careful, because this person is doing another seminar in which he's inviting all of these people into his occult program. So be careful about that. They would love to have your O negative genetics. And that's what they've done traditionally. For people like me, they just want to get rid of us anyways. And I'm not coming back as their weird gray alien cyborg thing. So I'm out of here. The other thing I've noticed is, as you know, I tried to sell this property this year, and everyone was like, oh my gosh, it's going to sell like hotcakes. It's an amazing property. You've created this beautiful permaculture paradise, and your food prepared, and all of those things. So anyways, my realtor, who's been my friend for quite some time, said that she has never, in her 35 years of being a realtor, met such rude people in her life. It's like something happened in this last year, and all of my clients are saying this across the board. They're rude. They don't speak. They don't look at you. There's no handshake. There's no contact. It's almost like the people that I saw, like they're automaton zombie race already, very angry, aggressive, such that my realtor said she felt like she needed to go to therapy every time she shows a property now. She needs to go to therapy by how really weird people are. And the one thing that they're looking for is, how smart is your house? How much internet? I mean, the first person that made an offer, it was like no deal unless you have high-speed internet. And I'm going, oh, I see. Okay. So they can't see the perfect food paradise because all they want is their AI God. And they're very disturbed if they don't get it. So my nice little place, which I consider like paradise really here, they thought it was too rustic because I don't have AI everything. Like, I have lamps that are incandescent bulbs, and it's not wired with light switches because I really need to be able to turn everything off because I know what this monster is. It comes through digital. So people have become very scary and nasty, and they're going to use that to their advantage. So just be aware. When I finally took the place off the market, it was because I also realized that these people are like contaminating my property. And I came out to the last couple and I was like, welcome. Let me know if I can show you anything. I'll be down here in the garden. Happy to answer questions. They kept their bodies like to the side, and they wouldn't even look at me, and they'd never even said like, hello, thank you, or nice to meet you. So this whole like lack of communication of this group that has now been hybridized has nothing to do with evolution, okay? It's a severe disability. It's a disorder when you delete that. And that is what has happened, folks. So that's why I said, do not have children. Like, whatever you do, do not have children. Because whether you got this or not, it's transmitted. I've read and I've posted again and again the confidential documents about this. Holy crap, people, do not have children. Get ready to get out of here because your kid could be one of these things. And I also said I ordered this book because this guy has been grabbed again and again. And, there's people who are contributing to this book with PhDs. So these are not uneducated, unconscious people. We know what's going on here. It has nothing to do with evolving or growing or anything like that. We've had our experience. We're Homo sapiens. Sapiential knowledge tells me that we're in hell. And the Last Supper is coming. What you want to do about that is up to you. I'm going to do my best to bring the void in here by recognizing what this place is and keep glitching it. And I will stay as long as it is comfortable to be here because I study the mechanics. But when it's time to leave, I've posted a lot of poems about this. Like, I'm gold, I'm just waiting without waiting to get out of here. I know who I am. And that is the definition of a liberated being. You're not waiting for a Messiah to save you, and you're not waiting for some final judgment, which is all baloney. It's your decision. So, strategies for the final supper. If you're going to have a session with me, probably you want to examine very carefully what you're attached to in this realm. And I can see that in a chart, because the thing about the charts is that, yes, the archons are acting on you, but your original code and consciousness is also in that chart with the archons acting on you. And let's see, there were some anomalies that have been coming up for years about also the RH factor. I've had clients say, well, everybody else in my whole family is actually Rh positive and I came out Rh negative, and they say that that's clinically impossible. No, your blood type and the hybridization carries with you lifetime after lifetime in this morphogenetic field, because it's a morphogenetic field. So if you have had rape hybridization, that's probably why you're carrying a blood type that's totally different from the rest of your family. And I've heard of that anomaly for again and again and again. If you go back and read my comments to people answering questions in that video, Blood Wars, Who Wants to Reign in Hell, you'll get a lot of information about the research that I've been doing about this for years anyway. So it's called microchimerism, and you have two different sets of DNA in you. And sometimes you will test for a different blood group. It's that weird. It is totally a rape invasion template. Okay, so just for fun, I want to show you what a Zeta Regalian looks like. Yes, I'm just going to show you what a hybridized Zeta looks like, okay? And she admits that she is, and I've called her out in my blogs for years, but my blogs are gone. So you're going to get to see it from her own mouth.
Of course I was going to say that, but...
Poor baby.
Yeah, she's really, really committed to that. It's really sad.
No, I'm not a poor baby. I'm more reptilian, cold-blooded, and go in to win the election.
We're going to take a short break. I want to talk to you more about President Biden.
Okay, so cold-blooded, reptilian. I've called her out for ages, okay? Just look at that woman with the thin lips and the weird big eyes. People say, oh, she's had so many facelifts and everything. Look, I can see what she is. She said it, not me. All right, my dears, I'm going to stop this video for now, and just know that you are the gold that the Anunnaki has been trying to harvest. And it's time for us to have a strategy for the Last Supper. All right, bye, darlings.